There's a man at the airport. Flip-flops, worn backpack, economy seat, no luggage worth mentioning. You glance at him for half a second and look away. Nothing interesting there. But that man owns 3 companies. His net worth has more zeros than most people's phone numbers. And the reason he looks the way he looks, that's not an accident. That's a decision. Most of us were taught, quietly and constantly, that wealth should be visible, that success has a look, a car, a watch, a neighborhood. We absorbed this without anyone sitting us down and explaining it. It just seeped in through TV, social media, the way people talk at dinner parties. And at some point, we started believing that money you can't see isn't really money, that if you're doing well, people should be able to tell. But here's what's strange. The people who actually have the most tend to show the least. Not because they're hiding something shameful, because they figured out something that most people spend their whole lives missing. Warren Buffett is worth over $150 billion. He still lives in the same house he bought in the late 1950s. For decades, he used a basic Nokia flip phone. Ingvar Kamprad built IKEA into one of the most recognized brands on Earth, flew economy class, and drove a 20-year-old Volvo. These aren't stories of men who forgot they were rich. These are men who understood exactly what money is for, and it wasn't for being looked at. When you flash wealth, you become a target. Not just for crime, though that's real, but you also become a target for inflated prices, for people who want something from you. Staying quiet isn't just modesty, it's protection, it's strategy. There's a term researchers use for this: stealth wealth. And it's more common than most people realize. Studies tracking actual millionaires, not the ones performing wealth online, found that the majority live in ordinary neighborhoods, drive unremarkable cars, and use coupons at the grocery store. They plan their shopping lists. They take advantage of employer retirement matches. They do things that feel almost embarrassingly small for people sitting on that kind of money. And that's precisely why they have that kind of money. The math here isn't complicated, but it's easy to ignore when culture is pulling you the other direction. The average new car payment in America is over $700 a month. That same amount, invested consistently in a basic index fund at a 9% annual return, becomes nearly $500,000 over 20 years. Not through genius, not through luck, just through not spending it on something that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. Because that's what money quietly saved actually buys you. Not things, options. The ability to take a job that pays less but leads somewhere better. The ability to start something on the side without needing it to work immediately. The ability to say no to a bad deal because you don't desperately need the good one. Meanwhile, there's a pattern that works in the opposite direction, and almost everyone falls into it at some point. In the 1700s, a French philosopher named Denis Diderot received a gift. A beautiful scarlet robe. But wearing it, he started noticing that everything around him looked wrong by comparison. His old chair didn't match. Neither did his desk, his curtains, his other clothes. One by one, he replaced them. He spent far more than the robe was ever worth, just trying to make everything feel consistent. Psychologists now call this the Diderot effect. The way one upgrade quietly demands another. This is how lifestyle inflation actually happens. Not through recklessness, through momentum. You get a raise and your apartment starts feeling small. But the cumulative effect is that every additional dollar you earn gets absorbed before you can do anything meaningful with it. The hedonic treadmill keeps moving, and you keep walking. And the distance between you and financial security stays roughly the same no matter how fast you go. The people who escape this aren't necessarily earning more. They've just chosen to stop playing the game. When you don't perform wealth, people treat you differently, often better. In negotiations, someone who shows up without signals of abundance gets taken more seriously as a price-sensitive buyer. That's a reputation worth having. There's also something that happens internally when you stay below your means for long enough. You stop needing external things to tell you how you're doing. And once that gap closes, you develop a kind of clarity about what actually makes your life better versus what just makes it look better. This isn't about deprivation. They spend on things that genuinely improve their lives, experiences, health, education, time with people they care about. They've learned to distinguish between what they want and what they've been convinced they should want. Most millionaires didn't inherit their wealth. Around 80% built it from middle-class or lower-class starting points. Not exciting, not photogenic, not the stuff of social media posts, but effective in a way that flashy wealth almost never is. The quiet version is slower. There are moments where it genuinely tests you. Watching people around you upgrade things while you hold steady. Scrolling past vacation photos while your savings account grows in silence. Those moments are real. But so is what's being built underneath them. There's a reason the wealthiest people you'll probably never hear of made their money in industries nobody finds interesting. Commercial carpet cleaning, specialty manufacturing, industrial supply chains. The person getting rich selling specialized parts to factories is probably driving a truck that's 15 years old. The person trying to look like they're getting rich is leasing a car they can't afford to impress people who aren't paying attention. One of them knows what money is actually for. The other is still figuring it out. Next time you see someone who looks like they have nothing, no watch, no logo, no signal, look again. There's a chance they're not hiding failure. There's a chance they're just not interested in performing success. And in a world where almost everyone is performing, that kind of quiet might be the most interesting thing in the room.